Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I have the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro with me again today. There was another firmware update. I noticed it this morning, so I got it all loaded up, and I thought we would come out here and try this thing out and see what features they've added, see if it's changed the video quality, etc. Just see what's going on with the drone. So let me take a look here, and I'll read you the notes, the change notes. So I got my phone up here. I took a screenshot so I'd get it right. So this is version 1.2.9. So what it added is number one, added slow flashing function for fill light. Say that 10 times fast. So I think what they mean by that is this light at the bottom, that maybe you can put it in a flashing mode. I'm not sure why you would want to do that. That light is so that the obstacle sensors in low light can help the drone see where the ground is and help it land, etc. And then additionally, number two, it says the ubiquitous fix known bugs, and that's the one we're most interested in. But I can tell you, I think we've got some features activated now too, because I very quickly looked at the app before I left my bench at the house, and I saw that searching for landing apron was enabled. So landing pad in our speak, there's my landing pad. I put it here on the concrete next to the picnic shelter here at Heroes Park. It's a fairly tight spot, so let's hope that this guy actually can execute a precision landing. And I'll be honest with you, I think Hubsan's got that down, so I'm not too worried. I think it'll be just fine. That said, I guess I'm very interested in what other features they may have activated with regard to some of the intelligent flight modes, etc. And so I've just got one charged battery here, but if we want to test video, I'm going to see if I can try out the tracking modes. And other than that, let's just get the guy up and let's just have a fun little flight and see what we got. Now, it's really smoky here today. A bunch of fire smoke is blown back in. I'm not sure where it's coming from California or where, or maybe right here in Idaho. But we are inundated, 4 miles visibility, so it's a little bit hazy today, so you'll notice that. But otherwise it's a mild day, very mild winds, etc. So let's quit messing around. Let's get this bird in the air. Okay, so I've fired up the X Hubsan 2 app, and we are going to enter device. And you know, you always get that cable not connected at first and the shutdown reminder. In other words, you don't get FPV until the drone takes off. So then it gives us the device status list that I like, although, however, this message is always kind of in the way there about the shutting down FPV. But it does give us a little information about updates. I guess eventually we'll get time lapse and 48 megapixel shooting, which I believe is still pictures. And then recently updated, so that's interesting, preview of album videos, image tracking, creative videos, and search for the drone apron. So heck, we're going to try all that stuff out. And oh, it looks like we get white balance adjustment too. Although for the purposes of this video right now, we're going to leave it on automatic. So yeah, so we've got it all updated. You can see the firmware versions there if you're interested. And then down below here, it tells us all of our calibrations are normal. We need to go in and format our memory card. I don't know if I can do that right here. I don't think I can, so I'm going to have to go into the camera. I'm quite sure. Well, let's try here first. I doubt if it'll be under gimbal, but let's, yeah, no, it's not. So I think we need to go into the camera menu and to click on the 3 dots, format the memory card, which by that they mean the memory in the drone. And you can see I've got a 128 gigabyte memory on this one, so let's format that and we'll see what it's done, what it comes to after we're done here. So it says it's formatted successfully, which that's really fast for a Hubsan product. Let's go back and look, and yeah, there it tells us we've got a roughly 115 gigs of open memory. Let's switch it to video. It won't let me do that until we take off. Let's go ahead and take off, and then we'll go back into that camera menu and check it out. So I'm going to hit take off on the app. And you can see the drone there, it's just hovering nicely. So we're just going to leave it hovering there for a second, and we're going to go into that camera app. Excuse me, I'm going to switch to video first. So we've switched to video, go into the camera app. We're going to click on that little camera, and we are in 4K 30 frames per second. That's what I want. Then we're going to click on the 3 dots. And video bit rate is it's set at 100. I'm going to leave it there to see if that improves the video somewhat. I've been running it all the way up to 200. I don't know if that's necessary. In fact, I don't think it's necessary for this test, so we're not going to. We're going to leave the color on natural. Let's look at the white balance, and it shows it as white balance now. And you can switch that into manual if you want there, and you can adjust that. So let's go into manual so you can adjust it from there. So if I left that on manual, it would hold that 5,000, but I'm going to put it on automatic because we want to see what the drone will do itself. We're going to leave the color on natural. Again, we have that sunny day and moire off selections that we looked at the last time and had a while back, and had some disappointing video, I thought. And grid lines are already on, and then the memory card capacity. So looks like that's about it. We have seen it all right there. Let's go ahead and start recording. And let's do our, we bring the drone in here, let you get a look at it, and we will do a little bit of a droney. Bring it up a little bit. I'll tell you what, if nothing else, Hubsan, and I've got obstacle avoidance off, so you're not hearing any beeping or anything. But Hubsan has just done a phenomenal job with this little drone with regard to making it stable. I mean, look at this. Just for the fun of it, let's see how those downward facing sensors, yeah, look at how, see how that kicks the drone up when I stuck my hand under there? So those downward facing sensors are working great. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of a droney, and you're not really going to see much of it on camera here because I'm going to have to move it to a direction so I can go to the other corner of the park here. Let's do that right now. So I'm going to drop the gimbal just slightly here, so I'm not trying to do that on the fly. Reversing up now, and we're in normal mode. And boy, we're getting a nice steady either I'm getting better at flying this drone, or they've improved the controls, because I am not getting any cross coupling here. You can see the target is right on where I left there, so that's looking good. Let's move up to that rule of thirds, and nice flat horizon. And as you can see, it is smoky, man. I'm telling you, we got some smoke and haze in the distance. Like I said, it's about 4 miles visibility now as opposed to a nice clear day. Okay, so what we're going to do right off the bat here, we're going to try precision landing. So let's fly it out to the other corner of the park here. Full stick forward, and let's see how fast it'll get up to. Should be about 8.5 meters per second. There's 8, 8.3, 8.4. Is it going to get 8.5? Yeah, there's 8.5, and that is full speed in normal mode. Okay, so let me crank it around here a little bit, and you guys can see, normally you would see the Boise front, the Boise foothills off in the distance there, and you're not seeing anything right now because of all that smoke and haze. One more point I want to make, CPU temperature looks pretty good, 57 degrees centigrade. So we're going to hit return to home on the app, and let's see if this guy will find its landing pad. And so we just started it, and we're getting the beep, and the drone is ascending to its return to home height. Gosh, as I recall, I set that really high when I was out at Lucky Peak. So this thing is going to go way up there. In fact, I'm going to stop that right now. I canceled that because I want to go back in. We're just no point in wasting time with the drone going up to 94 meters high. So let's drop it down here for our purposes here. 35 meters is plenty where we're at right now. I set it higher when I'm out places where there's mountains and other obstacles. So let's drop the drone down. Let's just go, I'm pulling straight down on the stick, and let's get it below that 35 meters that I just set it at. And let's see how accurately, plus going straight down here will show us how that gimbal is working too. Okay, there's 30 meters. I'm going to hit return to home again, and it should rise to 35 meters and then turn around and come home. I apologize for that false start. Yeah, it's not messing around, and here it comes. And I'm interested to see if it's going to ask me to turn off the video camera to get a precision landing. Previous Hubsan drones used the video camera for that. Now this guy's got a downward facing optical flow camera, and boy, that drone isn't messing around. It's coming right back. Let me drop that camera down so you guys can see. And it's reorienting itself here. And I'm only going to stop it if it looks like the drone is going to get in trouble. You need to turn this feature on. Yeah, so look, we don't have to turn off the camera. It's finding it right now. So we're going to have video on all the way down. And you can see the target right there. It looks like we're going to get this. Oh, this is pretty darn cool. Good job, Hubsan. Good job on this one. Well, let's leave that camera down. It's not going to hurt it to be pointed straight down. And the drone is pausing. Yeah, you should be able to see that on the GoPro here. And it's almost there. Oh, it picked up the camera too. Hey, awesome. Yeah, so it's a little bit off the pad there, but pretty close. So we got 1 foot on and 3 feet off there. Let me drop the GoPro here so you can get a little better look. But in any case, and I also like the fact that it stops recording. I mean, it does turn off FPV, but it also stops recording. Okay, let's not waste battery. I'm going to pick this camera up just a little bit, the GoPro, and let's go ahead and take off again. And I see I still have just that same pictures frozen on the screen there. That's kind of interesting, but in fact, you know, I'm just wondering if the return to home button on the controller, if that will make the drone take off too. And it doesn't. I just was curious. So let's hit takeoff on the app. We're going to do an auto takeoff. And I'm starting recording immediately. And obstacle avoidance is off. We'll try that some more as well, but obstacle avoidance, I've had issues with it in the past, that it's caused some compression in the video so that the video did not look right. So, well, heck, let's just quit messing around. Let's get out in the field here a little ways. Let me drop that gimbal down, sorry about that. Grab some altitude. And let's just go for a little bit of a flight here. Let's throw it in sport mode and see how we do with regard to the gimbal. We've seen some shakes in sport mode before, so let's test that real quick. I can tell you what I see on FPV looks good, and I'm stopping right there. You can see that on the attitude little square there in the bottom left-hand part of the screen. You can see the attitude of the drone. Okay, so in fact, let's just go straight directly across to the other end of the park here, and let's see how fast we can get it up to, and see if we have any shaking or gimbal issues. Looks good. Look at that. We're at 15 meters per second. That's hauling the mail, folks. That's about 15 and a half, and I'm going to let off right now. Watch it hit the brakes. Whoa! And that is about, I don't know, 35, maybe even 36 miles an hour. So, man, that's plenty fast in a little drone like this. And look at that quick yaw. So we're gonna take it back into normal mode, and we're going to bring it back to us, and we're going to start checking out some of those intelligent flight modes. Bringing it down and bringing it back. So Hubsan is always, I mean, from the original Zino Mini, or excuse me, Zino, the original Zino, Hubsan has always done a good job with tracking. Looks like I overshot us a little bit there. Bring it back and bring it in and down a little. Boy, I'll tell you what, that gimbal is working good. Okay, so I'm going to walk out into the field here, and I'm going to try a little tracking. And so the drone is, I don't know, quite a ways away from me, you know, 5 meters or so, or actually more than that, probably 12 meters or so. So let's go into the menu here, and that's that cross. It looks like a little drone up in the top left-hand side of the screen. And let's look at following mode first. And this guy has two kinds of follow me: active track, and then it will do GPS follow me. I prefer active track because that keeps you in center of frame. And yeah, this is just exactly the same instructions that I've seen on previous Hubsan drones. So I'm going to draw that square around me, and it's got me. Look at that, target is too close vertically for the aircraft to follow. So it looks like, if I read that correctly, it needs to be higher. Okay, look, then we got to go. So it did just need to be a little bit higher. So I'm going to click go. Started active track. And you know what? I can hear the drone following me. So here's the warning I'm going to give you with this drone, and then I give everybody with drones when it comes to active track. Active track is cool, but if you don't have obstacle avoidance, it can be disastrous, because you can lead the drone right into a tree or a building or something else. Well, this is working just great. Let me see if I can push the drone backwards. And I can. I'm watching the drone go backwards above me. Let's see if I can do an orbit around myself, simply by holding. So I've got the right stick to the right, and look at that. So it's doing a point of interest orbit and tracking. So let me do that and continue walking at the same time. So look at that. We've got the drone doing an orbit around us and tracking at the same time. I mean, superb. Good job, Hubsan. That's and like I said, Hubsan has always done a good job with tracking. And so yeah, so enough of that. Let's get out of there. Let's hit stop up in the top left-hand corner up there. And let's try something else. So, man, I'm telling you, I was impressed with that. That worked really great. We're at 60% battery, so let's quit messing around. Let's take a look at, well, let's see what's in creative video first. Yeah, you got to stop recording before you can do that. So I'm stopping recording now. And we're going to go into creative video. And look at that. We've got all the usual suspects, and we got plenty of room here. So let's do the fly to sky, which is essentially a rocket, I believe. And yeah, let's see, we're set at 55 meters, that's plenty. I'm going to click go. And it should, oh boy, we had some geese just fly right by us. Man, a V formation of geese. Just, I mean, not far from the drone, honestly. So yeah, that rocket is working great. Look at it, it's keeping me as the point of interest perfectly. So now let's see what happens when it ends here, if it'll return to its starting point. I think we said 55 meters. I probably shouldn't have set it so high. But I definitely want to let it finish here and see what it does. It's still climbing. Yeah, I think I set that a little bit too high, folks. Yeah, I needed to quit walking around. Yeah, so it's finished, so it's returning to its starting point. I love that. I love drones that do that. I know people, like I know on DJI, people have had a problem with that, and the drone is coming down, yeah, fairly slowly. But we'll let it do it. We're going to let it complete its function here. So I will cut out part of this boring part of the drone just descending. Okay, so there you just saw fly to sky exited, it said. So that's me picking the camera back up, and I'm going to center it on me a little bit more again. And let's go. And you know what? I didn't see if it recorded or not. I didn't look at the red button. So, but let's try another one. Let's go back into Creative Video, and let's do a comment. This is where I'm trying to think of the an analogy. It's kind of like a boomerang that you'd see on a DJI drone. And let's see, counterclockwise, we're fine with that. So we're going to click go. And my square was a little bit weird, but the drone is moving. And what it'll rise and move away and do kind of an oblong is what it'll do. And I'm watching the drone, and it's executing it perfectly, and it's keeping me perfectly in the center of frame. God, that's great. And it's moving back to its starting position. Yeah, comet shooting ended, so perfect. Okay, let's try, and boy, my iPhone is heating up here. We're going to go into creative mode again, and we're going to do 360 shooting. And yeah, so I think, I'm not exactly sure if that is an orbit or if it's just the drone doing a 360, and you can tell it how far to go. So yeah, it's on 360. We're just going to click go. It's going to go, well, let's change it to clockwise. We're going to click go, and let's see what it does. And yeah, so the drone is just doing a 360-degree yaw in place. Let me pick up that camera so you'll have something to look at least, other than grass. And it did start recording there, so I was a little bit concerned had I missed that, if whether the drone started recording or not. So we're about halfway through here. One of the things that they could add to this, that DJI does that I like, is they could add a meter that tells you how far through whatever that flight mode you're in is. And should say completed here in a second. Yep, there we go. Okay, that works. There's one more, so we might as well try it, and that is the droney. Okay, we don't want to go very far. I'm going to run the distance down pretty short here, 30 meters, and we're going to click go. So I see I'm just a little bit out of the center of frame here, but of course I had it maybe skewed a little bit at the time. So that one wasn't exactly perfect, but it'll do an automatic droney. What I'm going to tell you with regard to dronies is they're more fun to do manually. Okay, let's go back into that menu again, and let's look at orbit mode. And Hubsan has always done this really good too. And usually they give you a choice whether you use the controller as the center or you can fly over the center, set the transmitter as the point of interest, or set the aircraft's current location. Yeah, so I could either set the current location, and that's, anybody that flies Hubsan drones is very familiar with this. But in this case, we're going to use the transmitter. Next step, and current radius 12 meters. Yeah, so we're good with that. And let's go ahead and start. I'm kind of interested to see if it will start recording, and we're going to hide this. And it's moving fairly slow. It did not start recording, so I started recording. I should have sped it up just a little bit, so we're going to stop that, and we're going to try that again. Let's go back into that menu, and we're going to click orbit mode because I want to show you that it'll do it at a higher speed. Transmitter is the center, and execute immediately, and we are going to move the speed right up as fast as we can get it to go. And as you can see, the drone is moving at a much higher rate of speed now. And so again, it's just centering GPS on the transmitter is what it's doing right now. So that's how we're getting this current orbit. And I believe that this one, it'll just keep orbiting until you tell it to stop. So but it's kind of handy because, well, might as well show you how. We're at 31% battery. It's gonna, so I click stop there. Let's go back into that again. It's telling us we're at 30% battery, so we better quit messing around. Let's do orbit mode again, and I got it. And let's we're gonna set the aircraft's position as the center. So we're gonna move it over the top of me right here. So it's roughly over the top of me. Next step, current radius. So I need to back the radius out. So I'm going to back it out till we see that thing is green. 13 meters. Execute immediately. Whoops! I should have sped it up there. But as you can see, I set the point. So it's not looking at the transmitter right now. It's just looking at where I set the center of the point of interest. So enough of that. We're going to stop that. Everybody's seen an orbit before. And let's pick up the camera and let's get the drone, get some height, and let's just fly this baby around a little bit. You know, while we're at it, let me look in that menu to see if there's anything else that I'm missing there. Hyperlapse is not available yet. Waypoint mode is, and we'll have to try that one of these days, but we don't have enough battery to try that right now. Yeah, orbit mode we looked at. Following mode we looked at. Line fly. Line fly is one of my favorite things, and looks like that's available. We'll show that on another video. But right now, let's turn this thing around and get it looking at us. And I think we should try out that zoom again as well, because the zoom function, whoops, overshot. Let's get that gimbal down. It's starting to beep. We're down to 24% battery, so it's going to go into auto return to home. Let's hit the function button. I'm going to turn around here. And the other day, it zoomed, and it's zooming on FPV right now, very slowly, but it is zooming. So that is an update. It used to zoom faster than that. Now, I'm afraid we're going to run out of battery before we get it all the way zoomed in. But what happened to me the other day is it zoomed on FPV, but it did not zoom on the video off of the drone. What we used to call the SD card. Yeah, it's wanting to come home. Cancel return. Free 10 pieces of McNuggets at McDonald's. That's always interesting. Let's drop that thing all the way down to 6. I did that manually there. And let's run it back up. I'll see. I'm going to do that on the touch screen here. Take it all the way back to 1. Yep, there we go. And let's pick up the camera and let's move the drone. I'm going full reverse right now. Let's move it out of ways, and then we'll hit that return to home again. Okay, return to home on the controller this time. And it's coming home. Let's see if we can get that precision landing. And it's coming fast. It comes home fast. Look at this, 10 meters per second, over 10 meters per second. It doesn't mess around. Let me drop that camera down so you guys can see what's going on. And pretty cool that they've got it where it picks up the camera now as it lands. So let me see if I can. I don't know if you'll be able to see this on the GoPro or not, but it is coming down. Yeah, it's going to be a ways off now, so. So you guys are seeing, it is literally right in front of the camera here. So, I don't know. I was trying to look at the controller and look at the camera at the GoPro at the same time, so I don't know how much of that you guys saw. But I'm going to back up the tripod and let you take a look at the distance from the landing pad. So here's what I'm going to suggest may have happened there. We were low enough on battery that I think the drone just wanted to come down and land. I suspect that precision landing won't happen at a certain battery level. So let me get everything shut down and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, just one quick note. It is saying CPU temperature, does it say 62 or, yeah, 62 degrees centigrade. And I'm telling you, you don't want to touch the bottom of this baby. It's hot, so which is okay. We had it doing a bunch of stuff, so just wanted to let you know it is awful warm, and that's why they give you that guard. Hey, okay, the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro. Gosh, Hubsan is starting to bring this drone to life. You know, when I first got it, a lot of the features were disabled, but slowly but surely they're bringing them online, and in typical Hubsan fashion. So what I'll say is, listen, I've flown Hubsan drones, well, since the 501S, but more recently, the original Zino back in 2018. I bought one on that original Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign that they had to get that drone going, and man, this thing just kind of reminds me of that original Zino, in that drone had a rough start, but as Hubsan came out with firmware updates, they improved it and improved it and improved it, to where at the end of the day, that became one of my favorite drones. For a bunch of reasons. Was it great at anything? No, but it was good and it was reasonably priced at about 300 bucks. But that's a whole nother subject. This guy is reminding me of that because it seems like with every update of the firmware, the drone is improving. And again, in typical Hubsan fashion, their intelligent flight modes have always worked really well. They have, since that original Zino, their optical tracking has always been really good, and we proved that here today. It did a great job. We didn't do the GPS tracking, although we could have, and I'm sure that's fine. Here's the issue I have typically with GPS tracking is it doesn't always keep you center of frame. So this guy does such a good job at optical tracking. Why wouldn't you do that? And you know, as you could tell, as I was walking, I was able to orbit the drone around me just by taking that right stick, and I pushed it to the right, and so it did a counterclockwise rotation. And then we went into the creative flight videos. I'm trying to remember them all now. We tried rocket, we tried droney, there was the 360, and basically that's just a 360-degree pan around, but you can set it to where it's a 180 or whatever. So you can automate that. And then I keep wanting to say horseshoe, but that's not it. Maybe it is horseshoe. Anyway, the drone kind of loops around you, goes high, makes a big arc, and then comes back down on a tighter arc. Kind of does an oblong around you. I think, do they call it a comet? I get them confused. There's boomerang, there's comet, anyway, there's a bunch of different names, but you get it. The drone did fine. Then, yeah, so then we also tried the orbit mode, and that's another one that Hubsan has always excelled at. You can choose, if you want to be the point of interest that it's orbiting around, it's so easy. You just choose the controller as the point of interest, and it'll orbit around the controller. And if it's like other Hubsan drones, you can do that out to about 100 meters. If you're further than 100 meters out, you can't do that. But it also will let you choose what your point of interest is. In other words, if you had a building or something off in the distance that you wanted to orbit, you could fly right over the top of it, start the point of interest mode, back the drone up for the radius of the orbit that you wanted, and then click start. And you can also set the speed that it orbits, I think up to 3 meters per second. So really handy and works really well. So the part that I can't speak to right now is that we tried out the zoom function, and the last time I tried that, I was out at Lucky Peak Reservoir, and I could see the zoom on FPV, but the video that came off the drone did not crop. It didn't show any zoom. So we'll see how it does this time. And then the other thing that I can't tell you about is the quality of the video. In the past with this drone, I've seen what I call micro shakes, a little bit of shaking, and that creates often a little bit of jello in the background. I also saw some issues with what I would call a soft focus. It's not so evident when the drone is way up high, but if you're down low looking at a tree or something, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, but the trees are just a little bit blurry. So in any case, hopefully this update may have corrected some of that too. So we'll see. You guys will have already seen the video. But at any rate, I guess that's about it. I had a ton of fun on this flight. Like I said, I'm starting to feel like I did with the original Zino, where it had a rough start, and now it's getting improved, and I like it. I like that the drone is doing what they say it would do. So we'll keep testing, we'll keep messing around with this guy every time they come out with a new update, and then testing all the features and stuff. I want to get back to that obstacle avoidance again one of these days and do some real serious testing with that. But any case, that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I really mean it, I appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And of course, we'll see you on the next one. Okay, so the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro, I almost said plus. You got to get those names right. It's really starting to improve. All right, we'll see ya.